Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video I'm going to be using Planners Anonymous Tropicana to make this cool notepad holder dashboard with a little surprise. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I think this is a really good idea, but I can see where people may think it's something superfluous, but go with it anyway. So what this is going to be, it's going to be a dashboard notepad holder thing. It'll make sense when we get to it. So I'm going to grab, I want to start off with this die cut and this bit of paper. So this one's got all the photos on the back. So if you think of this as a dashboard, this is going to be the front. So this is where you sort of see it. But then on the back, when you turn it over, it's just got this beautiful photo paper kind of thing. So I'm going to start with cutting it down to size. So I'm just grabbing my current, well actually it's the melody I'll be moving into next month. And I'm just grabbing the dashboard from that. This is just so that I can measure it out. All I want to do is just make sure on the back that I'm getting that flower, because I really love it and I want that to be on the back. So I'm just going to mark up on this side where I need to cut. So I'm lining it up as best I can. Go. We'll get the paper trimmer in. Now if you didn't want to mark it like that, you could of course have put it in like that. I'm actually going to do that too while I'm here and everything. And done it the tape way, which works too. I use a combination of the two to make sure this is as close to perfect as I can. Okay. Because you know me, I always get paper cutter's guilt. Perfect. And it's going to be too wide to, it might work. Let's say it's going to be too wide to do it that way. But I can often make it work just on the side here. It's just a guide, you're not using it as the be all and end all, but it's just to help you measure that up. I've also got my pencil one, so it's a combination of the two. Yay! Okay, so that's our dashboard. We're done. Kidding. You don't think I could leave it that plain, do you? So I'm going to put the holes in now because then I can work with the hole. So you can obviously do that two ways. You can put this in, put your pencil marks in and do it that way. Or you can use something like this, which is the Planner punch board. I love these. I use this to cut basically everything hole related these days. It isn't a single hole. So I set this up at 8, 18 and 28. So you get all three. 8, 18 and 28. Make sure they're all in. I grab the original one back in again and just pull this down and you'll see that the numbers are circled. So you can see them really, really clearly up close, so it's not a big issue. So then we grab in the little piece that we just cut. Make sure it's the right way up. Just put it in against the little edges there, and then all you do is you flip it over and you do it the other side. So it's definitely going to sit that way. Always double check. There we go. And if we have that up with our dashboard, you see it's absolutely perfect. So easy as. Okay, so that's the basis of it. What I want to do is I'm going to make this a little special, but then we're going to make it our notepad holder. So if you saw my digital video the other day, the one that I made, this little one, this is where I'm going with it. So go and check that out so that you get how to make this. But what I'm going to do is I would make another one. Obviously I've already made one, so I'm not going to do it again now, but I'm going to make another one that's going to be a little bit skinnier, but I'm still going to have this one. I'll make it fit this one. And it would be this die cut on the front, and that would lift up and then have all of the pieces of paper. So if you haven't seen it already, I just made this with the digital kit. It's not difficult, it's actually really simple. I really like this idea. So it's going to sit in, we're going to use this as the sort of marker for the notepad, but I'm going to make sure it's high enough so it would sit in here, and then when you pull it out it's a little notepad. But we need to do something, we don't need to, but we're going to do something a little special with the camera. I'm just grabbing my infinity dies. If you don't have infinity dies, if you don't have a circle die, just cut this by hand, but I've got the dies, so I'm going to use them. And I'm just going to pick one that matches. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do it on the inside of that inside lens, or there we go, that one. So I'm just going to stick this down and just run it through my die cut machine. But we're going to do something a little clever. So I'm going to cut this bit out, but I don't want it to cut all the way. So I'm going to do a bit of partial die cutting. So I'm just bringing the die cut machine in and grabbing the plates. So I'm going to put the die in, we're going to put it this way, and then this top plate, rather than going the whole way, I'm going to leave it here. So this is going to have a little hinge on it because it won't cut straight through, and that way we can open this lens up to kind of be a window. So just making sure that's exactly where I want it to be. Now that this is kind of squished in, it holds it a bit better. So run it all the way through. Just before I move it or anything, I just want to make sure that yes, that's where I want it. I actually want it just a little bit closer, so a little bit smaller of a edge here. So I'm just, there we go. There we go. Very easy to do that by hand if you didn't want to run it through a die cut machine. If you don't have the dies, just cut it by hand. It's not a big deal. And then you're going to see in a second, so I'm going to peel the washi tape off gently. And we'll pull up that die. I'm being gentle so that if I've got it stuck or anything, it's not going to damage the die cut. Then I'm going to do, I may not have cut it quite enough. So rather than running it back through, I'm just going to grab my scissors. This has left a bit of an impression sort of where the line is, so I can just follow it around. Just little cuts. There we go. And then I can fold this back. I'm going to grab my score tool so I can give this a really good crisp edge. And then we've got just a little pop-up, so it just makes this a little bit more special. Now the cool thing is, when this goes in, you're actually going to get a peek at that, but I don't want to leave it empty because that's a little bit dangerous. So I still want to get that little peek, but I'm going to do it with the vellum. Now I find the vellum is the thing that I get more questions about than anything else. How do you use the vellum? You've got to think of the vellum. It can't cover up like a piece of paper can. It obviously can't. It's got that see-through element, and that's the point. But it can do anything a paper can, but it gives you that extra kind of fun thing to it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make it pick up just this little bit with the green. I am considering doing the flower. No, we're not. I want it to pick up a little bit of the water and the sunset, but I'm trying to decide if I want to have the foliage in there or not. And I think I do. So it does feel wasteful though to take it right out of the edge there. Because I don't like that. I think that's too dark. Okay, so if I use this bit here, and I'm putting this where the Polaroid will sit. So I'm just going to grab a bit of that tape again because I'm just going to hold this down. So I'm trying to make it so that when the bit behind it is in the right spot, as in the right spot in the card, that it lines up with that sunshine, with the horizon line in here. So okay, actually that's not going to work. And the more I thought about that, the more I realized it wasn't going to work. But because when it's in, it will always be at that point. So it's just a matter of now working out where, so that will always sit like that. So it's just a matter of working out. Sometimes it's just a little bit difficult to get my ideas to do what I want them to do. So the thing at the back needs to stay still, and the camera on the front needs to stay still, the paper in between can move. So I'm not that bright, you guys, I have told you that before. Sometimes it just takes me a minute. Okay, I like it about there. So I'm going to just grab my pencil. I'm just marking top and bottom sort of roughly where I want to use it. Yes, it is still a little bit wasteful, but it'll work. So I'm just going to use scissors for this because I don't need to use anything fancy. If you really are that kind of person that doesn't want to have like a big chunk out the side, you can obviously cut that with a paper trimmer, but I don't mind. So I'm going to have that with the little horizon bit there, and then that'll look through into here. The acetate would also work for this if you wanted to do it. If you don't like the vellum, if you want to use something that you completely can see through, the acetate would look great. And just to show you, where's my acetate? That's what the acetate would look like, and it would look absolutely stunning to be able to pop through and see to that. So either or will work here. So I'm just going to use a bit of glue just to stick this on the back. That way. Making sure I've got it the right way. And the only thing I should have done there that I didn't think of, I need to make sure there's no stickiness on the back. But this is why I love my glue dots, or love glue tapes in general, that allow you the ability just to rub them away, because it means it's a bit easier. Okay, so there's your little sort of die cut part of it. Now we need to mount this up on the back. That's actually the very, very easy part. I've just got some dirt when it went through the die cut machine. It's just got a bit of a mark on here, so I'm just using an eraser to get rid of that. Okay, so from here what we need to do is make this sit up as high as the notepad. So I'm going to use this one. It is fairly wide. So I reckon I'm going to need 2 bits of foam tape, foam tape doubled up. So I'm going to grab the first bit. I'll just work one side at a time. But I also need to make sure that this holds it in the right spot. So if I want it to sit there like that, we need the foam to be more over on this side. And then this other bit's going to be a skinny bit. So we're going to cut this in half. So we're going to cut it in half. This can sometimes be a bit tricky. Makes the scissors sticky. I'm a poet and I don't even know it. I just find that's the easiest way. Just keep pulling it apart. And that now we've got the same, like the double up without even having to try really. So putting that down the side, and I'm just making sure that as much as possible it's not in the way. And then you want to make sure that this still can slide in and out. I will add a little bit of tape, powder, just to make sure that we get rid of some of those sticky bits, but it should be fine. So I'm just doubling this up, leaving the release tape on the second bit. And then we're also going to put it on the bottom, and that way it'll only go down as far as we want, because I want that little quote to sit up at the top, but I want it to be so that you can't see the foam tape through the back. So I'm just having it down just a tints. That's the spot. And then we just do some tape there as well. This same general kind of makeup would work really well if you wanted to make this a shaker instead of a notepad holder. You could do the exact same thing, have the thing open up and you see little shaker bits flying around instead. I did think about doing that, but then I couldn't work out how it was a notepad holder, and then I couldn't work out how it was a dashboard, and it got too much for my little brain, so we gave up on that. But you get the gist. So that's where it's going to sit. Then I want to check if it's high enough for my notepad. Now my assumption is it's not going to be, because I think this is going to be a bit wider. So when I make this again, I'm going to make this a little bit thinner. And I'm just going to, and because you can keep making them all by yourself, I'll make it a bit thinner. I will put some videos or some photos up on Instagram so you guys can see the notepad that I end up making for that. So that way you can get an idea of it. And that'll also fix, it kind of feels like there's a bit of a depression there. I'll fix that up. I'm just looking at it and going, I think I need something else. I think I need some more stuff on the background, because I just think it's a little bit not plain, that's not the right word, but just a little bit not quite enough. So let's have a think. I've got all of my die cups out over here because I was playing with them before. I'm very tempted to put that on there because I think A, it looks cool, but B, I don't want to because Sammy did that in her video and I don't want to copy. Ooh, actually, doesn't that look cool? Just the way that sort of has the whiteness on the background, and then if you think it's going to sit there like that, I like that. Alright, so I'm going to stick that down. That just gets stuck straight to the bottom. There's nothing fancy with that one. Now if I position this right, it'll be exactly perfect to sit on top of here. There we go. And then we can stick this in. Before we do that, I'm just grabbing a little bit of powder just to run along the inside of the tape to try and get rid of any stickiness that might be there. And I'm just rubbing my finger around the inside just to check that there's no stickiness, and that now slides in and out really easily. Okay, so I'm just confirming again, that's exactly where I want to put it. Just there, oops, upside down, upside down. There we go, and it'll sit there like that. You can see through to the little plant on the inside, or when it's out, it's just going to be a clear kind of thing. So we'll take the tape off. This is a little trick I have found from watching too many people on YouTube. If you fold your tapes over like that, you can grab hold of them and pull them off, but it gives you time to be able to make sure this is in the right spot. So just putting it there for a sec. Yes, that's in the right spot, so I can stick that down with the bits, but then just pull that and it will pull off the rest of the tape and allow you then to push it down. Whoops, one thing, that was stuck underneath the tape. So there you go, it'll slide in and out without any kind of a problem. You've got the little window in there so you can see the little extra bit of something come through, and it's just a way to use the acetate. Like I said, Vellum, sorry. It's not a, you have to do this, you could turn this into a shaker instead. And then to see what it looks like, if I grab the Notepad, this isn't going to be high enough. It's a little bit too, this would push really hard on the, yeah, no, it's too wide. So I'm not going to do it, but I'll make another Notepad up like that one, and I'll make it to fit in here, and I'll show you that on Instagram. So stay tuned later in the week and I'll make sure that goes up. I'm not going to do anything on the back because I love the back exactly the way it is. You could have laminated this before you put it in if that was your inclination to do so. I am just looking around going, do I want to add anything else? I'm just debating putting a couple of these little frangipani bits around the outside, because you guys know I can't actually ever stop. I have to keep adding things to things. And the little frangipanis are one of the things that I'll probably forget to use. So I'm just going to move that one to this side so I can sit down behind the things. That one doesn't quite fit, but that one will. I'm just going to work in an odd number because apparently that's more pleasing to the eye. I reckon that looks cool. So I'm just going to stick those down really quick just as a extra little thing. I'm just using glue tape because A, it's quicker, and B, I like it. Good thing is too, if I change my mind, which I just kind of did a little bit with that middle one, sorry. I'm just going to move this down just a little bit so I've got some time with the glue dots and it won't leave a mark on my dashboard. This is just a thought. So when you have a look at this at the side, you can see this side here, I don't know if you can quite see it, is a little bit unsupported. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit more tape there just to make sure it's got that support, but I actually don't think it's going to be a problem. Okay, so there we go. There's our little dashboard notepad holder. If you didn't want to do the notepad, if you just wanted to have bits of paper that you could just put in there, that would work too. It could just be I actually have one I took off when I did the photos Where is it? It's run away from me. There we go. So you could just have bits of paper and they would stay in there fine. They don't need to be, and actually the white gives you a really cool differentiation in there. So if you put that in like that, it just highlights that white, that background a little bit more. It just gives it that slightly different true colour look. True colour look. But either way works. You could just have the card and you could just laminate the card or just put something on the background so you can write on that if you wanted to do that. But I really like that. I think that's kind of cool. And it's a good way to then implement that little notepad. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future Planners Anonymous videos from me. I think this is the last one I'm doing with Tropicana. I think I'm moving on to Hoogie Life very soon. I've got the digital kit and I cannot wait to play with it. So if you haven't already, make sure you check that out over on the Planners Anonymous website. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, whatever you get up to. And I'll catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!